Hi, my name is Rebecca Ortiz and I'm an artist. So I did a series of paintings that represent the pivotal role the women have had and how God's restored church functions only through an equal partnership of men and women. In my use of interlocking and overlapping shapes over complex colors and patterns, I represent the unity of man and women in the restored gospel. In my use of old parchment-like papers, I reflect the revelations given to Joseph Smith about the roles women play in the church, including the sacredness of the foundation of the Relief Society and women's roles in the temple. In the purple painting, the depth of the painting and its primary use of a singular color allowed the patterns and shapes to draw attention to the difficulties and sacrifices of the women. Inspiration from this piece came from learning about the trials Jane James went through being among the first people of African descent to join the church, including divorce, poverty, and deaths of family members. It came from an understanding that Anstice Taylor went against her only family to join the church and moved away from her home only to have several of her children die. It came from reading about Emma Swift's feelings of jealousy and learning about plural marriage and her despair that her husband was murdered. The purple painting applies most of the feelings and despair and hardships that these women went through. The blue-green painting reflects the revelations given to the women of the church with a focus on Emma Smith as she was called to be the Relief Society president. In the painting, I explore Emma's spirituality and her perseverance in leading the first organized group of women in the church. Through contrasting colors of bronze and light greens, I show Emma's feelings of stress, confusion, and concern about leading the Relief Society adequately. I show how she was guided by God in being specifically called to serve, and how she came to understand God's unique role for her on this earth. The pink and blue painting is the finisher of the series, and it shows the femininity of the women I focus on and how they utilize priesthood authority in their lives. Through delicate line work and details, the work shows how each of the women were daughters of God and were guided by the Lord through all their struggles. The interlocking and parallel shapes are meant to show the symbiotic relationships between men and women in God's church, showing that while women aren't specifically given priesthood offices, they can utilize priesthood authority within their sacred callings. This piece shows what it means to be a woman of God in this time and reflects my research about how women lived within their gender roles of their society. Thank you.